Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and what I'm going to do is we're doing another one of our flight school training. Okay, this is a flight school training on side climbing, the benefits and the reasons why people do it, and why it's not really necessary. Okay, so let's talk about uh, side climbing in general, right? Side climbing is widely believed, really, it's widely believed that to get a height advantage, you need to side climb. Okay. Uh, it's a tactic used by boom and zoomers. Okay, and when I talk about boom and zooming, I'm not talking about the aircraft's capabilities. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the player and the play style. Boom and zoomer. Some players like to have height advantages and dive down, shoot their opponent, and climb back up. And they use their energy to their advantage. And it's a very good tactic. Don't get me wrong. That's an awesome tactic. It's a very strong tactic. It's also very easy to master. So players that have no skill tend to resort to boom and zoom, which is fine. Also, expert players tend to boom and zoom because it is such a powerful tactic. All right. An alternative to that is the turn fighter. As you already know, turn fighting is when you're using your energy to your advantage to outmaneuver your opponent and get on his tail and shoot him. Okay. And there are other tactics, but we're not really going to go into those right now. But every plane can do every tactic. So every plane can boom and zoom. Every plane can engage in a turn fight. And the only thing stopping you from winning a turn fight is your pilot's skill, your aggressiveness, the amount of energy you have built up, your speed, and very, very little to do with your plane's turning capability. All right, so now on a boom and zoom, as you probably know, now I've already done videos on these, but I'm going to redo them because I did them back when we were flying Spitfires. But a boom and zoom is when you have an altitude advantage over your opponent and you dive down, building up a lot of speed and energy. You fire at them, and before they have a chance to react or turn or climb back to get you, you immediately assume another climb and you're away from your enemy. So you use that energy that you built up from the dive to be able to get away from your enemy. So it's like you run in, you punch him, and you run away. You run in, you punch him, you run away. That's boom and then zoom away. The boom is the diving in and shooting, and then the zoom is getting away. Okay, for that to be a good, effective tactic, and everybody says, "Oh, it's the best tactic," which is good. It is a good one, but it's not the best one. You need to have an altitude advantage. Okay, so with that's you're limiting yourself. You're taking a chance, 50%, that you're going to have a higher advantage. You will have to consciously, and consciously actively maneuver your plane in a way where you can gain altitude when your opponent is not. Okay, that's all well and good in reality. This is War Thunder. This is a game. These matches last anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. I know their timer goes out to an hour on some missions, and only missions that last an hour are when there's a couple of planes left and they're hiding at their base. Or hiding in the clouds and you can't find them. Most matches last about 10 to 15 minutes long. Why is that? Because the two teams engage each other immediately. They get into a dogfight. They shoot each other down. and then it's over with. Okay, and that's why I have a problem with side climbers. I'm not saying it's a bad tactic. I'm not saying it's a bad tactic. What I'm saying is it's a tactic used when it's not necessary. That's why. Okay, so I've got on my top diagram here. Okay, you can see you see my mouse pointer? Good. You can see that I've taken two planes that would encounter themselves against each other in a War Thunder match. They're both 3.7 realistic. Okay. The Hellcat the F6F and the Japanese A6M3 both have a 3.7 battle rating. I checked out their climb rates. Okay, the climb rates are 13.6 for the Hellcat and 13.8 for the A6M3. If it was the A6M2, it would only be a 10 on its climb rate. And once I was originally going to use the A6M2 because that would be the historical dogfight, the Hellcat versus the A6M2. But I wanted to add battle rating into this because of War Thunder, so I put them both at the same battle rating. It's the A6M3. Okay, and looking at their climb rates, they're almost identical. The A6 has 0.2 meters per second advantage. Almost nothing. Okay, and that depends on if the player is climbing at the perfect angle, which nobody ever does. So they're almost exactly the same. So I'm going to just count it as the same. If you were to get into a match and you were to start climbing and they were to start climbing, you would meet in the middle at the same altitude. Okay, so that side climber is saying that's not good because if we do that, I don't have my advantage. But the turn fighter is saying this is perfect because they don't have the advantage. I'm not going to give them the advantage by not engaging them immediately. So turn fighters will climb, but they're going straight towards the enemy. They will engage at this altitude. Now, let's talk. I'm going to draw some lines. We got the turn fighter. He's moving in, and then we got the opponent. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Okay, we have the opponent. Whoops, wrong there. Okay, coming in, right? Okay, and there's going to be a fur ball right about in here, right? Okay. So the side climber says, you know what? I'm going to complain about everybody charging in. That's the first thing they're going to do. And they're going to say, I'm going to not engage in the fight. I'm going to let you guys duke it out. And I'm going to climb over here to the side. Now, right about here, they're going to have the same altitude. This group's going to engage in a fight because they rushed them, forcing this team to fight without being able to continue their climb. That's perfect. That's a perfect strategy. The side climber now takes advantage of the side maneuver that he did because he's not engaged in this fight. And then he will continue his climb towards the fight. So now he has the height advantage that he's been so longing for. So now when he engages, he does his zoom and boom. Like he'll dive in and climb out. Okay, so the side climber will climb out to here about the same time that they climb out to there and engage, right? They will go, sometimes they will climb as far away from the enemy as possible. I've seen that. And then they would climb even more completely away from the fight. Okay, what did this just do? What did this do for them? That got them a lot of altitude. It sure did. They are way up in the stratosphere. That's great. Now they can zoom and boom. But imagine this, and this is why I say it's unnecessary. Because imagine this: these 6 guys are going up against these 10 guys. This group's going to lose. They might shoot a bunch of these down, right? But this whole group's gone. They've lost maybe 1 or 2 guys. Now the other 4 guys that are coming in over here are now engaging a zoom and boom battle against their entire team. Because these guys, the side climbing elitist, allowed the rest of his team to get slaughtered. Because when they died, these guys were still climbing. These guys are dead. These guys are still climbing. And usually what winds up happening is there's like 2 guys in here, and then there's 2 guys over here, and then these 2 guys say, okay, it's time to engage. They engage, they get killed, because now these 2 guys are going up against, again, the whole team. And then once that's over with, then these 2 guys say, okay, it's time to engage. And by then, this side, the one with the side climbers, has already lost the fight. Now, Derek, now you say, Derek, if everybody side climbed, then there would be no problem, because then everybody would have the height advantage. Well, I'm going to tell you that's false. And the reason why I tell you that's false is, okay, I say that's false because guess what? If you have everybody side climbing and their team has decided to charge in, go as fast as possible, you're still at the same altitude. And then you say, okay, Derek, now we're going to continue to side climb. And if they want to, they could wreck the bases because there's nobody there to engage them. They could continue their climb. They could climb away. Okay, let's say these guys climb away. Guess what? You're all still at the same altitude. There's no advantage to side climbing. The side climbers, the only way you can get an advantage from side climbing, and this is for you side climbers out there that complain about people that charge in, you need to shut up, because they're the ones that are giving you that opportunity to climb higher than your opponent. Because when your team says, let's charge in, the opponent doesn't get an opportunity to side climb. They have to engage in a furball. They have to dogfight over here. And while they're doing that, you're taking that extra time to get your advantage. So this is what I'm saying. Some planes are better suited for side climbing and getting, let me back that up. Some planes are better at zoom and booming, or boom and zooming, as you would say. So you have to weigh the advantages. If you got some Spitfires and they're going straight in because they want to mix it up immediately, great. That's great, because what that's doing is it's allowing you that time to side climb. Okay, now this is all that I'm going to ask. If you're a side climber, and this is my request to you as a side climbing elitist, if you're a side climber, once you see the engagement, once you see that they've mixed it up, Stop side climbing. Join the fight. Okay? So don't continue to climb along the edge of the map. Okay? Once you see it, I don't mind you climbing more into the engagement, of course, because you're looking for that advantage. I understand that. But go towards the fight. Don't leave your team hanging. I've seen players, and I'm not going to say who they are, but I've seen players that will go all the way along the edge, climbing the entire way while the rest of their team is getting wiped out. And they wait, and I don't want to name any names, but I've seen it. I've seen it happen a lot from this specific group. They will continue to climb, and they will complain about how you should have side climbed also, and that you engaged without getting a height advantage. And then once everyone's dead, those 4 guys, because you're going to take like a whole group of 4, will finally turn in and engage the enemy. Now what will happen is, and this is my conversation with this group, is they will get each probably about 2 kills. They will kill a majority of this team. And then they will lose. Because this is a full team, and this is only 4 pilots. So these 4 pilots will each get like 2 kills each, at least. So they're killing like 8 guys, but still losing. And then they look at this team that charged straight in, and they see that each one of those got maybe like 0 kills or a couple of assists and a kill here and there. And they're going to say to themselves, this strategy is better. We're a better team because we side climb. When in fact, they're buddy fuckers. They left this team to get killed when they went out there for personal glory. But guess what? At the end, they were still shot down. And even if they shot everybody down, they're still buddy fuckers. Because they allowed these guys to get shot down before they went in and engaged. I hate that. I hate that. As you probably already know, watching a lot of my other videos, I am a team player. I don't care about what you individually do. I don't care if you shoot down 5 guys. Yeah, I do. I say that's great. That's awesome. But if you shoot 1 or 2 guys down, and I shoot 0 down, and our team wins, I'm happy. If I shoot 15 guys down, and you shoot 0 down, and our team wins, I'm happy. But if I shoot 3 guys down, 4 guys down, and our team loses, now I feel horrible. I don't care that I got 4 kills. All I care about is our team winning. That's my #1 goal. This is a team game. You're on sides. It's not a free-for-all. Everybody's not out there trying to get their own personal kills. Actually, there are a few people out there that are. So when you're diving down on a target, and you shoot him, and you put him on fire, and he continues to fly, and I dive down on him, and I kill him, don't complain to me and say, you stole my kill. No, I didn't. That has nothing to do with it. I'm killing that target so we can move on so we can move on to the next target, so we can win. I could care less about the kill. I'm just getting rid of a player so that we can move on. If I am shooting a target, I'm blasting him and he's going in, and you swoop in and you blast him again, and you get credited for the kill, great. That's awesome. Thank you for the assistance. That's why I'm so frustrated when I see people climb to the side. I don't mind you climbing to the side. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind you climbing to the side and allowing the turn fighters to charge. That I don't mind. But when you don't immediately turn in when they engage, that's when I've got a problem. And that's me. All right. So you will never see, you will see, okay, first of all, you will see the 1st Naval Air Squadron. We will side climb. We will go perpendicular to the fight. We will keep the fight off our right or left wing tip. We will watch to see how it evolves. And once they get into combat, we will immediately turn in. We are a naval squadron, U.S. Naval Squadron. We fly Wildcats. We fly Hellcats. We fly Corsairs. They're all designed for boom and zoom. But our pilots are skilled enough that once we get into that fight, we can turn fight because we know what we're doing. If you're the kind of player that doesn't know how to take a boom and zoom fighter and turn it into a turn fighter, I don't know what to say. All right, so that's what side climbing is all about. Side climbing is a great tactic. I use it. It's to get the altitude advantage. But you can't use it if everyone is doing it. You have to rely on those initial guys to charge in and mix it up. Now, if you're one of those mixer-uppers, right? You're the turn fighter, you're the guy that charged in. Don't die. Don't just charge in and throw your life away. Don't even engage, really. I mean, get close. Mix it up. Make it so that these guys can't continue to climb. Right? So get in there, get in their face, but don't die. Don't give them the energy advantage or anything like that. Let the full team engage. If you die, like if this is like a 2-second engagement, they charge in, you die, these guys will continue to climb, eliminating their side climbing advantage. Don't die. And something that's even better than not dying is draw them down to the ground. Because if you draw them down lower, that just gives this team over here a bigger advantage. It's like you're handing them the height advantage. Don't and we'll talk about that in future videos on how to draw somebody down to the ground and how not to die. But you have these two groups are vital for victory, right? You can't have just side climbing, and you can't have just charging. You gotta have a little bit of both. All right, thanks for coming out and checking out my tutorial on side climbing and what I feel about it and my opinions. And if you're interested in a Naval Air Squadron, check out the 1st Naval Air Squadron at 1nas.engine.com, and maybe we'll see you in the air.